All right, something else that we were watching today, the 13F filings from Monday. A lot of interesting ones here, a lot of individual ones. I had my eye on Michael Burry slashing his U.S. stock portfolio. He doesn't own any U.S. stocks anymore, except for one. And that company is called Geo Group. It is a private prison operator, and it was at the top of our top trending ticker list. And it's a very small company. It was his only long stock holding as of June 30th. And that, by the way, brings me to an important point, which is always my disclaimer. When we do 13F filings, they are a snapshot. So for those of you who like to follow what some of these big fund managers do, keep that in mind. So who has to file a 13F? Every money manager who manages at least $100 million. It doesn't include non-U.S. traded securities. It does not include short positions. Mm-hmm. So you don't know what's on the other side of this stuff. And again, it is a snapshot. It is as of June 30th. Could they have made other changes since then? Yes, certainly. Now, when we're talking about somebody like a Berkshire Hathaway or some of the other companies that we know our fund managers tend to be long holders, they probably haven't done anything since then. But Michael Burry, maybe he sold out of Geo Group since then. We don't know.
Yeah, you mentioned Warren Buffett. I'm locked in on Buffett. It looked like his playbook, according to these 13S, were stick with names he knows of brands and businesses and industries he absolutely loves. Right off the top, I'll highlight Ally Financial, a stock that is trading at only 4.5 times forward earnings on a PE basis. I mean, that is a classic value type play. You go back to what Ally Financial did in the second quarter, wrote $13.3 billion in consumer auto originations. I mean, that is just a huge quarter from the company and a business that Warren Buffett knows. And of course, another business he knows is Apple. He added to the position Apple, added to the position in Paramount, and he now also added to his position, continued to add to his position. Occidental owns 20% of that oil giant.
You know, since we're talking some of the tech positions as well, one of the founders that I was tracking here, particularly Appaloosa Management, of course, the owner of the Carolina Panthers, David Tepper, and particularly here, the holdings that he added on to. Interesting. Meta. He added on to Salesforce.com, CRM, and those two companies, if you've been chronicling the last 6 months with us, you know about the precipitous drops that have been taking place. He added on 200,000 shares and initiated that position within Salesforce over the course, or at least running up until midpoint of this year. And then additionally, from Meta, added on about 110,000 shares. Also, Constellation Energy Group added on 2.7 million shares there. That's also a new position. And then this one is just for the table for conversation, since I know it'll get folks riled up. Kohl's.
I knew you were going there.
So had about 700,000 shares, added on about 1.1 million shares to that.
I don't want to argue against David Tepper. I mean, it's David Tepper. I mean, the guy's been right so much in the markets, but man, Kohl's, I mean, that quarter is just going to be brutal. If you looked at these results from Walmart in the general merchandise category, a lot of weakness in apparel. How in the world is Kohl's going to put up anything good if consumers are balking at $10 underwear and socks at a Walmart? I mean, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Maybe he wants to pull a Lampert.
Oh, no, no. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Amazon caught my eye too, because a lot of people who were buying the dippity dip, as you like to put it, were getting into Amazon. So D1 Capital Partners, Coatue Management, Maverick Capital, Lone Pine Capital, Soros, all of them bought Amazon shares. So it seemed like as things were coming down, there were a lot of large funds, pension funds in particular, that were lightening up on stocks to some extent. But you did see a decent amount of tech buying as people were coming in. And
Soros scooping up some Tesla, huh?
Yeah,
imagine those two in a room doing a podcast together, Elon and George.
Well, listen, to be clear, George himself is probably not, there are other people who manage that firm at that point. Sure. So he's probably more focused on his philanthropic activities at this stage.
I would definitely love to listen to that podcast.
Yeah. Absolutely. A lot of dippity dip buying, it seems, here, for sure. Dippity dip, also a term that we're going to kind of produce as a candidate into Merriam-Webster's as well.